So when it comes to Nintendo's next generation system or the Nintendo Switch 2, there really hasn't been much information that has come out recently, as about a week or so ago we had a report that came out from Bloomberg about the screen that the system is supposedly going to be using and that it's going to be like an 8-inch screen, it's going to be LCD, and since then we haven't really had any other information come out until today. See, just this morning, Nate the Hate has dropped his latest podcast discussing the Nintendo Switch 2 and what Nintendo could be planning for 2024. And if you don't know who Nate the Hate is, this is definitely one of the more credible leakers that we have when it comes to Nintendo leaks and even other stuff too, as this person has gotten numerous things correct, and it's definitely been proven that he definitely seems to have inside sources who give him information about these things, because Nate the Hate has kind of hinted at when directs are going to happen, what week they're going to happen, some of the announcements that Nintendo could have, and a lot of these things have turned out to be true. So I definitely do put more faith into this person than just some random person on like 4chan or Reddit or somebody who's just making up stuff and talking about what the next system could be like. So we actually have some interesting information from this podcast, and it's about an hour long, but if you do want to listen to the entire podcast, I will have it linked below in the description if you want to go and check it out for yourself. But I basically compiled together all of the main ideas for all of the recent Nintendo news that he talked about in there, and I'm going to share it with you guys inside of this video and give you guys my thoughts. And so really the first big thing that was mentioned inside of the podcast is the year 2024 is probably going to be more of a slower year for the current Nintendo Switch or the Switch 1, and I feel like this is definitely to be expected. If you just take a look at some of the games that we already have for the Switch that are coming out this year, you've got like Mario vs. Donkey Kong, which is a remake of a Game Boy Advance game, you've got Luigi's Mansion 2 remake, which is a remake of a 3DS game, and then you've got the Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door remake, which is also a remake of a GameCube game. So it's mostly kind of just remakes, remasters, things like that, and I feel like definitely the crazy, like amazing years that we've had for the Nintendo Switch are definitely kind of in the past now as we're getting ready for the next system. Now, for the last couple of years, we've always gotten a February Nintendo Direct, and we're just about getting to that point right now for this year where we're getting ready for that February Direct to happen, and a lot of people are saying that it's rumored to be happening sometime next week, where we're probably going to get the announcement from Nintendo on like Monday or Tuesday or something about the Nintendo Direct or the presentation that's going to be happening. But Nate actually mentioned something very interesting inside of the podcast, which is that he thinks that it's possible that this February Nintendo Direct that's going to happen in 2024 might actually be a partner showcase. Now, if you guys remember, sometimes Nintendo does like to have like these Nintendo Direct mini partner showcases where it's more so geared towards like the third-party stuff, where it's really just kind of like third-party partners really showing off some of their new games that are coming out for the Nintendo Switch, and it's not really much focused on like the first-party stuff like Mario, Splatoon, Zelda, stuff like that. And so it's very interesting that Nate is kind of suggesting that we might be getting a partner direct for February, and I think he even said it's going to happen sometime next week. So I guess we'll just have to see in a couple days what happens, because if next week comes and Nintendo actually announces a partner showcase, that's actually very, very interesting. So the thing about this is we'll actually know the answer in a few days. Maybe it's also possible that it could just be a normal Nintendo Direct, but it's really going to focus more on third parties, and Nintendo isn't really going to have much of their first party crazy announcements. But even just this, I feel like makes a lot of sense anyway. A lot of the big crazy reveals that you want from Nintendo, like a brand new 3D Mario and stuff like that, is probably just being saved for the next Nintendo system. Like, that's probably what they're gonna do now for the next generation, and showing off a lot of crazy, amazing, good looking games for that system. And we're pretty much done now with the Nintendo Switch's era, so there probably isn't really like a lot of surprises left for the system. And even if they do a mainline Nintendo Direct, I feel like it's very kind of easy to expect what's going to happen, because the one thing that we've heard about for a very long time is that there's going to be a Fire Emblem 4 remake, which apparently Nintendo has had done for like the last 2 or 3 years, and they've just been sitting on it. So I definitely expect to see that announced if there's a Nintendo Direct. And then the ending is probably just going to be like a first look at Metroid Prime 4, because we haven't seen that game in 5 years, and I definitely feel like by now they definitely have something to at least be able to show us. And so from all of this, it now brings up the discussion about the Nintendo Switch 2. So when exactly is Nintendo going to show off this next system? And while Nate doesn't seem to have heard any information from like sources about when Nintendo could be planning, he did give his own educated guess for why he thinks that this is going to happen. And basically he says that he's expecting that the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be revealed in March. And this is actually going off of something that he heard last summer, where in August there was a lot of people telling him that something was going to happen in March, but he wasn't exactly sure. But now he's kind of leaning more into thinking that it's probably going to be when they're going to do the reveal. And then he also mentioned that a big reason that he feels this way is because of GDC, which if you don't know, GDC is the Game Developers Conference. It's a big event that happens every year where game developers from all over the world gather and network with each other and talk with each other about their upcoming games and what they're working on and things like that. And so honestly for Nintendo, it would be an amazing place to show off the Nintendo Switch 2 to game developers and getting like them to be appealed in the system so that they can actually make games for it and all of that. And so if that's what they want to do, then they need to reveal the system before then, so that way it doesn't leak from this event happening or anything like that. And so with GDC happening this year on March 18th, it would then mean that the Nintendo Switch 2 would need to be revealed and showcased to all of us before March 18th, so then that way Nintendo can show up to this event with the Switch 2 and they don't have to worry about anything leaking from it. And so I do think that having a reveal around this time does make a lot of sense, so honestly I could see this happening. I was definitely thinking that it might be more so kind of towards the end of March or maybe kind of like the beginning of April because of like that Princess Peach game, but who knows, honestly maybe Nintendo is going to be ready to do the reveal at the very start of March. And then finally, the last things that we have here is just more information about the system itself. So the first thing is that Nate does expect the Switch 2 to be a bigger system than the current Nintendo Switch. That obviously makes a lot of sense. If the screen is going to be bigger and it's going to be more powerful and stuff, they're definitely going to have a bigger chip, a bigger battery and stuff inside of there. So it's probably going to be a beefier system. It's going to be bigger and heavier. So that is to be expected. Now he also does expect there to be backwards compatibility with Switch 1 games, so you are going to be able to play all of your old Switch games that you have right now on the next system as well. And he also mentioned that this was a big reason why they're probably going to have a partner showcase for February, because that way then they can have like a mainline Nintendo Direct later and show off stuff for the Switch 1 and the Switch 2, because the Switch 2 will have been revealed by that time, so that's why they might just do a partner showcase for February. So that is a really interesting way of looking at it, so I guess we're going to have to wait and see. And then finally, in terms of just some specs about the system, he does expect there to be 16 gigabytes of RAM, which makes me very happy because I definitely need to see at least 16 gigabytes of RAM or 12 gigabytes at the bare minimum. I feel like if the Switch 2 comes out with 8 gigabytes of RAM, it would be very, very disappointing. So I'm really hoping 12 gigabytes at the minimum and definitely 16 if that's possible. And then he also did say that the storage for it is going to be anywhere from 256 gigabytes to 512 gigabytes. So you're going to have a big amount of storage on there too. So that's definitely good for fitting a lot of games. But yeah, there you go guys, that is pretty much all the information that we have right now about the next generation Nintendo system or the Nintendo Switch 2. And so yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, definitely be sure to click that like button and also subscribe to the channel, as well as I'm definitely going to have some more videos talking about the Switch 2 as the information comes out. Comment down below and let me know what you guys think about all of this. Do you guys agree with all of this information? Is there anything you don't agree with? Definitely be sure to comment down below and let me know. But if you don't have anything to say about this, just comment your favorite emoji down below for some engagement. I would really appreciate it. Go follow me on Twitter at @Aero so you can be featured in videos, and also join my Discord server as well. We've got a bunch of people in there who are always talking about Pokemon and Smash Bros and Nintendo, so definitely be sure to join that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching.